G20 leaders turn to climate change. On the last day of the summit, the world's most advanced nations will stop financing unabated coal plants abroad by the year's end. G20 leaders have reportedly written in a draft statement seen by the AFP. It's the moment of truth as the world meets for the COP26 climate summit. The UN Climate Change Summit begins in Glasgow. Prime Minister Modi to attend the summit on the 1st and 2nd of November amidst international calls for India to raise its climate commitments. A fuel price hike for the 5th straight day. Except Delhi, diesel over 100 rupees per litre across metros. Actor Puneeth Rajkumar is buried in Bengaluru this morning in the presence of the Chief Minister and several top actors from the Kannada film industry. He is accorded full state honours. And after returning from the G20 summit and COP26, Prime Minister Modi to hold a review meeting with districts having low vaccination coverage on the 3rd of November at 12 noon via video conferencing. And Farm Union leader Rakesh Tikait warns the government, says if protesters are forcefully evicted, they will turn government offices into grain markets. Leaders of the world's biggest economies are set to tackle climate change on Sunday. That is the final day of the G20 summit in Rome, summit that's widely expected to set the tone for a major conference on the same issue taking place in Glasgow in Scotland over the next 2 weeks. The group of 20 countries, which represent more than 3/4 of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, are looking for some sort of common ground on how to reduce emissions while helping poor countries deal with the impact of rising temperatures. Now, the future of coal, a key source of greenhouse gas emissions, has been one of the hardest things for the G20 to agree on. The world's most advanced nations will stop financing unabated coal plants abroad by the year end. That's what G20 leaders reportedly wrote in a draft statement, according to the Associated Press. Coal is still China's main source of power generation, and both China and India have resisted attempts for a G20 declaration on phasing out domestic coal consumption.
I think the endeavor of the leaders is to find solutions. Obviously, there are different ways of finding those solutions, but everybody knows that climate change is an issue. So you may have a different view about how to tackle the issue of climate change. You may feel that there is more emphasis on one or the other areas of climate change. But the fact that climate change is a problem for the globe to face is there. I'm sure, there's another day, full day of meetings which are there. I'm sure at the end of this all, we will find that the G20 will have solutions, will have outcomes that represent a consensual view of the organization.
And G20 leaders gathered this morning in front of Rome's Trevi Fountain to take part in the coin-tossing tradition. Notably, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson stood next to the French President Emmanuel Macron. They all appeared to be in good humour. The US President Joe Biden did not attend the event. There you see them lined up in front of that majestic fountain, throwing the coins into the turquoise waters of the fountain. The coins were €1 coins with Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man on the back. That's a symbol of the summit. The legend in Rome, of course, is that if one throws a coin into the Trevi Fountain, you will be sure to return. Let's hope that doesn't need to happen, at least not for COP26. And thousands of coins are being thrown into the fountain every day. The city cleans them out, uses them for charitable causes, and of course this is a famous scene from that romantic scene in La Dolce Vita, that famous film. Meanwhile, back home, fuel prices have been hiked for the 5th straight day. The price of petrol and diesel in Delhi stands at 109 rupees per litre and 98 rupees per litre. Petrol and diesel prices per litre at 115 and 106 in Mumbai, 109 and 101 in Kolkata, 106 and 102 in Chennai, respectively.
महंगा हो रहा है, हर चीज महंगाई पे आम जनता पिस रही है। इसमें काम तो करना ही करना है आदमी, अब चलने के लिए पेट्रोल डलाएगा। आम मिडिल क्लास, सबसे मार मिडिल क्लास पे पड़ती है।
दिक्कत तो मैडम बहुत आ रही है क्योंकि सैलरी वैलरी बढ़ रही नहीं है, मालिक भी मनमर्जी करता है और इधर दाम हर चीज़ पे बढ़े जा रहे हैं, गैस पे भी बढ़े जा रहे हैं, पेट्रोल पे भी बढ़े जा रहे हैं।
And early on Sunday morning, the Kannada star Puneeth Rajkumar was laid to rest close to his parents. The untimely death on Friday of the 46-year-old actor, the youngest son of the superstar Dr. Rajkumar, plunged millions of his fans into shock and grief. Maya Sharma reports.
Before dawn on Sunday, the funeral procession of Puneeth Rajkumar left the Kantirva Stadium in Bengaluru, where thousands of fans had come to say goodbye to their Appu, as he was affectionately known. It was an emotional farewell for the actor, from family, friends and admirers. His final resting place at the Kantirva studio, close to where his parents, Dr. Rajkumar and Parvatama, are buried.
ದಿನ ಅಪ್ಪು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋರು ಅವ್ರ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೊರಟೋದಂತ ನಮಗೆ ನಂಬಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಸತ್ಯ ಅದು. ಅಪ್ಪುಗೂ ನನಗೂ 10 ವರ್ಷ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಅವನ ಮಗನೇ ಅಂತಿದ್ದೆ. ಅದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ ಪುತ್ರ ಶೋಕ ನಿರಂತರ ಅಂತ, ನನಗೆ ಮಗನೇ ಅವನು.
Crowds had followed Puneeth in life and from the day of his hospitalization and death on Friday. And despite the early hour, the day of his funeral was no different. They had travelled from wherever they were to pay their respects.
Actually, I came from Raichur district. He is my hero. I feel very sad. He is a very personality. Yeah, I inspired a lot from him.
ಮೇಡಮ್, ನಾನು ಆಂಧ್ರದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಹೌದು ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅವರಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಣ, ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅವರಂದ್ರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೋಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನಿಜವಾಗೂ ಭಾಳ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
Even those who had never met him felt they shared a personal bond with their Appu. The final resting place of the much-loved star Puneeth Rajkumar, gone too soon at the age of just 46. Appu, as he was affectionately known, was laid to rest next to his parents, the superstar Dr. Rajkumar and Srimati Parvatama. Puneeth managed to reach people and create love in their hearts, whether they knew him personally or even if they didn't. Puneeth donated his eyes, one of the many ways in which he will live on in the hearts of those who loved him. With DM Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
And let's just get you some other news from around the country. The authorities basically reopened a stretch of the Jammu-Rajouri National Highway for traffic on Sunday morning, more than 2 weeks after it was shut in view of an ongoing counter-insurgency operation in an adjoining dense forest belt. The operation to track down a group of hiding terrorists who are responsible for the killing of 9 soldiers in Poonch and Rajouri districts has entered the 21st day.
An uneasy calm in the forests of Poonch after heavy gunfire during last 3 weeks. There is no sign if any militants who attacked army twice and killed 9 soldiers are still there or managed to escape. For last 1 week, locals say they didn't hear any firing. On the side of Dera Ki Gali or DKG, where encounter started on October 11, locals say it seems the operation is over.
तो लास्ट टाइम पे आपने कब यहाँ फायरिंग सुनी थी?
सर आज 15-20 दिन हो गए। इधर गली में जो हुआ था उसके बाद वही बताते हैं BHATA। उसके बाद अभी कुछ नहीं, अभी कुछ नहीं है सर पूरा मैंने।
तो किसी को अंदाजा नहीं क्या हो रहा है?
कुछ नहीं।
Portion of forests have also caught fire in BHATA DURIAN area that witnessed a gun battle on October 14, in which 4 soldiers were killed. Fire is believed to be caused by heavy shelling on suspected militant hideouts. Last week, police said another trial terrorist Zia Mustafa from POK, who was in jail for 18 years, was killed in firing while being taken to encounter site for identification of a terrorist hideout. 5 soldiers were killed during an encounter at Dera Ki Gali on October 11. On October 14, 4 soldiers were killed at BHATA DURIAN area. Eventually, JAMMU-POONCH highway was closed at BIMBER Ki Gali. Announcements from mosques were also made urging people not to come out of their homes as army intensified their offensive. On October 24, police said jailed POK terrorist was killed at encounter site.
3 weeks ago, a massive anti-militancy operation was launched in these Poonch forests to track down hiding militants. On 11th of October, first incident of firing was reported in which 5 army soldiers lost their lives. Since then, army has been trying hard to track down hiding militants in these dense forests. But after 3 weeks, it seems the longest counter-militancy operation in Jammu and Kashmir in recent times is hitting a dead end. In Poonch, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
And hate won for now, but till when? Munawar Farooqi speaks to NDTV after his Mumbai shows are called off. That's coming up after a short break. If India's youth can decide who to vote for, they can also decide what to watch. That is what the stand-up comedian Munawar Farooqi has said after 3 of his shows in Mumbai were cancelled following threats from the Bajrang Dal. The Mumbai shows were cancelled after members of the Bajrang Dal threatened to burn down the venues.
काफ़ी आपके अगेंस्ट हैशटैग चलाए गए, ट्रेंड बनाया गया, यहाँ पर आया, कहा गया. आपको कब समझ में आया? क्योंकि हमने देखा इससे पहले भी क्या कुछ हुआ, लेकिन फिर वापस एक ही चीज़ वापस से दोहराई जा रही है. किस तरह से आप देखते हैं? क्योंकि जो ऑडिटोरियम्स हैं वो भी काफ़ी समय तक बंद थे, कई लोग आते हैं वहाँ पर काम करने, हमने उस पर भी स्टोरी की थी. 3 शोज बैक टू बैक आपने कैंसिल करने पड़े.
ये सैड है, ये काफ़ी सैड है ये चीज़, बट कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगता है कि क्या गलत अगर मैं इसको कहूँ भी कि ये गलत हो रहा है तो आई थिंक अभी बहुत सारी चीज़ें गलत हो रही है. तो ये बड़ी बात ऑडियंस के लिए है, क्योंकि आज ऐसी चीज़ है कि 1500 लोग अगर 3 दिन तक 500 लोग प्लान कर रहे हैं कुछ और एक महीने पहले टिकट्स खरीदे हुए हैं, तो दे आर वेरी एक्साइटेड. ये गलत इसलिए है क्योंकि किसी इंसान को काम करने से रोकना और उस पर इल्ज़ाम ये लगाना कि वो जो काम कर रहा है उसमें ये कर रहा है, तो वो बिल्कुल गलत है. मेरे शोज़ में ऐसा कोई भी किसी के धर्म के बारे में किसी तरह की कोई ऐसी टिप्पणी है ही नहीं.
पूछना चाहूँगी, ये पहली बार नहीं है, अगर जब से ये सारी चीज़ें वापस शुरू हुई हैं, ये पहली बार तो नहीं होगा कि आपका शो कैंसिल किया गया है कुछ?
पहली बार नहीं, लास्ट टू लास्ट वीक मेरे 1 अक्टूबर को ना गुजरात में शोज थे और गुजरात शो में भी उन्होंने सेम चीज़ करी, ऑडिटोरियम को धमकी दिया और ऑडिटोरियम बहुत वही तोड़ फोड़ करने का धमकी. मेरे पास सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है, आई कैन वर्क, मैं बेल पे हूँ, मेरे बेल ऑर्डर में सुप्रीम कोर्ट जब मुझे रोकता नहीं है काम करने से, तो आई डोंट थिंक मुझे कोई रोक सकता है. 50 मैसेज आते धमकियाँ आती है. मैंने 3 बार सिम कार्ड चेंज कर चुका हूँ, नंबर लीक होता है, मुझे कॉल करके गाली वाली देते. नफरत हावी हो रही है, एक शो कैंसिल हुआ इसका मतलब है नफरत हावी हो रही है, लोग हेट फैला रहे हैं.
That's the news at this hour. Stay tuned to NDTV for constant updates. After the break, we'll get you our discussion with Dr. Guleria on how to fight the spread of the coronavirus today. Bye-bye.